Again, we'll continue to monitor Tropical Storm Gordon as it's moving through Alabama right now. For a look at what's happening on the ground in Gulfport, let's go live to Ray Price. Ray?
Well, Karen and Dave, you can start to really feel the impact that Gordon is going to have on the coast. You can see the water is getting real choppy. You can feel that wind just blowing into you, getting heavier and heavier as the minutes go by. Now, one thing is important to note that at 7 o'clock, that's when the Harrison County curfew kicks in. Everybody's supposed to be off the streets, inside, hunkered down, waiting for the brunt of Gordon to come and impact us on the coast. You can see some people over there on the beach. They're stopping to take in and look at the sights. You're not supposed to be doing that because every emergency official is saying do not take this lightly. Like, it may be sunny right now, it may be windy, it may feel like a nice day, but this is nothing to play with. The storm could have a serious impact on people, so you should be taking every single precaution necessary to make sure that you are staying safe and that you're off the streets in time for when Gordon makes his way to land in the next few hours. I'll be bringing you more on air, online, on Facebook Live, so you stay tuned with me right now. But for right now, you can see that, you know, we're just at the beginning stages of what we can expect to see later on from Tropical Storm Gordon as he makes his way to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Reporting in Gulfport, I'm Ray Price, WLOX News Now.
And that should be coming up as far as landfall goes at about 8 o'clock or so. And remember that beginning at 7 o'clock tonight, that curfew does go in effect in Harrison County. And unless things change as a result of conditions, that curfew will remain in effect until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Right. It's a little after 6 right now. So if you have to get out and do anything, now is the time to go and then be back at 7 to meet that curfew.
Looking at the, what's that? Okay, let's go to, all right, yeah, let's go to Mike Lacey. I believe he's in Pascagoula.
Hey, guys, just wanted to get you a little sense about, we're right on the beach here at Pascagoula on the front beach, and I wanted to give you a sense of where the water was coming. It's not that high. It is crouching up on some of the grassy area and coming over the retaining wall from the canal that leads under the street, but the water looks like it's actually going out to the main body of water, and it's kind of going away from the street area. So the street is not in any danger of being flooded, but it looks like it's going in reverse. But I wanted to give you a sense of what it was looking like right here on the front lines of this storm. We're getting some gusts here where I had to turn my back before I fell over, but it's not as bad as it was, or it didn't feel like it was getting. It's still getting a little bit better as the storm keeps moving on, but I wanted to let you see what we're dealing with here on the beach. It doesn't look like it's going to be any tidal surge, at least from this perspective. The water is actually moving out to the sea rather than coming in. So I wanted to give you a sense of that, and we'll keep reporting as long as we can stay on with the battery and the way it is. But we'll keep reporting as long as we can and give you an update on WLOX News at WLOX.com. Reporting live in Pascagoula, Mike Lacey, WLOX News Now.
It was a tragic ending, though, as Tropical Storm Gordon washed ashore across the Gulf states. This morning, officials are confirming a child was killed in Pensacola.
According to the National Weather Service, a tree fell on a mobile home while the child was inside just after 9 last night. So far, no word on the age or identity of the child.
Happening overnight, Gordon made landfall just east of Pascagoula. This video was taken just after midnight, and you can see the strong wind gusts. This was the scene for most of the night.
And some people waking up to wet roads and debris this morning. Jonathan Brannon is in Jackson County with a closer look at conditions there.
I'm standing on Pascagoula Beach right now, right off of Beach Boulevard. You may recognize a familiar face right here if you watch Good Morning America. Ginger Z, meteorologist here.
It's the hat.
That's right, it's the hat. I couldn't tell otherwise. I couldn't tell. I'm glad you came up and introduced yourself. You know, otherwise I wouldn't know. So tell us about covering this storm and what you've learned about, you know, this wasn't necessarily a huge storm, but it's important to cover storms like this.
Yes, any tropical storm, any cyclone of any sort is a big storm, right. And I think we forget that after we have a season like last year. Mm-hmm. So it's important for me to be in the weather, number one, because this is my passion. I love the atmosphere, I love forecasting it, and I really don't think you can do that without coming here. And then on top of it, it's getting to know these areas. I would have no idea that the water's usually 50 yards back there, but I was talking to a woman today, and she's telling me about the land here. Yeah. And so it helps helps me when I'm forecasting in New York City to say, remember that time I was in Pascagoula and this happened.
It really gives you that firsthand experience.
And the good part about this storm is it's sliced. I mean, it went fast, right? So it's moving inland, and then it hits the friction of the land. It deteriorates even more quickly.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean that you don't pay close attention, because a 70-mile-per-hour gust, which is what this had,
right.
78 actually,
oh, wow.
that can easily take down trees and power lines, that can put them into your home and car, that can kill you. And so anytime it's to that level, I say we pay attention to it.
And you know, it's just several degrees off from being a major hurricane. I mean, you know, you never know. You really never know. And like you said about the beach being kind of further up this way, the water's never this choppy either. I mean, it's like a lake out here if you ever come out here on a normal day. So this is something that just shows the power of Mother Nature, shows that it's important to always keep things in mind, not be complacent, right? So I'm sure you see this all over the nation with storms. And you were saying earlier about non-named storms not necessarily getting the attention, you know, and they do as much damage. Right?
Here along the Gulf Coast, and again, I've covered from Katrina to Isaac in Gulfport, but I haven't been to Pascagoula yet. But I noticed that y'all do very well with water. Anytime a lot of water falls, but you can have thunderstorms that produce 8 inches of rain that come through, do a flash flood, and move on. So just like that, a rain band from a storm like this is important to pay attention to, because that's one of those things you don't drive into. You don't, you know, just last night, if you weren't on the road, you survive. And that's all you really have to do.
Just don't take chances, folks. All right, well, I'm with Ginger Z, Jonathan Brandon for WLOX News Now. Back to you in the studio.
Developing overnight, all curfews on the coast now lifted. That means you can now go out on the roads and onto public properties as you please.
People in our state capital also dealing with Gordon. Officials in Jackson are expecting anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of rain and winds up to 40 miles per hour. Dozens of workers are also on standby around the metro area in case of emergencies. So, you know, the state really not out of the woods yet. And, you know, we haven't possibly even seen the last of Gordon. Wesley, I understand we're watching some of those feeder bands.
Remnants?
Yeah, they're kind of sitting out there. We can actually see them east of Gulfport. If you watch these clouds long enough, you'll wind up seeing flashes of lightning, because there are still some thunderstorms associated with Tropical Storm Gordon hitting Alabama and the Florida Panhandle right now. And so that's these dark clouds you see there. And again, occasionally you do actually pick up a few lightning strikes. Of course, while I have it here, I'm guessing it won't show us any, but we did see some earlier this morning. So a recap of Gordon. It made its final approach to land last night. That official landfall just east of Pascagoula around 10 p.m. had maximum winds of 70 miles per hour during that landfall, according to the National Hurricane Center, and it did slam George and Jackson counties with some rain and wind impacts. A look at those rain impacts, you see that portions of those counties picked up over 2 inches of rainfall, but that really pales in comparison to what happened just to our east, really just a short distance away near Pensacola, Florida. They picked up over 6 inches of rainfall, and that rain is still falling on areas in Alabama and the Florida Panhandle right now. Gordon now down to 40 miles an hour with the maximum winds. It's expected to continue moving to the northwest, but if the center of Gordon moves to the northwest, what happens to this feeder band over here? Will that also move toward the northwest and impact us on Wednesday? It is possible, and we'll show you the rest of your forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Thanks, Wesley. Right now, casinos are shut down, and we are waiting to learn when the doors will reopen. We expect the State Gaming Commission to meet later this morning to make that decision. Overnight, all 12 coast casinos were locked. Parking lots were empty. We'll keep you updated on what happens later this morning. Right now, we are also waiting to learn more about the day ahead for Ingalls workers. We do know the shipyard will be closed for the first shift. As of now, no word on second, third, or fourth shifts. The company is urging everyone to call the information line for updates.
And a reminder for parents on the coast this morning, all school districts in South Mississippi are closed today. All colleges and universities too. Keep abreast of those developments throughout the day. We'll let you know if there's any changes, of course.